Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 7 of Yin and Yang. Enjoy. The lady was very pleasant and helpful, explaining what you would need for your UA school uniform. Let me just measure you, hun. Before we do anything else, I'll make sure I get the right fit for you, she said as she pulled a tape measure from one finger. In any other instance or in any other world, this would have been a little surprising, but this was a quirk-saturated world, so seeing someone pull a tape measure from their finger wasn't all that strange, so you didn't flinch. Ojiro, who was now just waiting awkwardly outside the room, checked his watch to see the time. He would have to head back to second class of the day soon, but he also didn't want to just walk off without saying goodbye to you if you didn't come out before he had to go. The lady measured around your waist and then from top of your shoulder, crouching down towards the ground to see the length of your torso, just as the bell for the second class sounded. Yin? Ojiro called from the other side of the door. Your tail suddenly jumped inside your clothes and twisted around itself, scaring the lady measuring you, since she hadn't known about your quirk until now. Yeah, you called back. I have to go. I'll see you later today, maybe? He called. Maybe, you replied back, your tail still wriggling, then shrinking right down and settling. There was silence, and he waited for a second before sheepishly walking away from the door to head back to class, and you let out a small puff of air as you heard him leave. I didn't know you had an appendage, the uniform lady commented. Do you use it much? Yeah, I guess, you said, looking over your shoulder at her. Well, then I should probably give you an adjusted uniform so that you can have room for your tail to move. Well, I usually don't bother with adjusted clothes because my tail shrinks and grows, so I don't really want a big hole in the back of my uniform. Just give me a normal one and I'll sort something out, you said. It's a very handy quirk, the lady said kindly as she finished up her measurements. You hummed. Good that it can shrink right down and remain hidden for a sneak attack. It can't go all the way down though, you said as you reached back to feel for it under your shirt. But there was only a little bump where your tail usually was. What the? You yelped, yanking your shirt up and twisting your torso to look back over your shoulder down to your lower back. Your tail was all but hidden beneath your skin, and you stared with confusion and bewilderment. Something wrong? The lady asked as you reached back to run your fingers over the lump. Yeah, you stated. Well, what is it? She asked worriedly. I don't know, but I'm going to confront him about it, you said, confusion bubbling in your core. The lady gave you a confused look but didn't ask any more. She knew that this was something that she couldn't help solve, so she decided to stay out of it. After finding the correctly sized uniform for you, she handed it to you and you headed to the Principal Nezu's office to get the rest of your debriefing done. Ojiro didn't see you again that day, but he thought about you the whole day. How am I going to fix things with Yin when I don't really know what's wrong? He thought sadly as he walked to the dorms at the end of the day. The next morning you were up early and getting ready for your first day at UA. The transition from your old school to UA was still going through all the paperwork stage, but they had said that this would be a wonderful change for you and would set you up for a bright future, so they agreed to let you change before your enrolment had officially been switched over, which you were grateful for. You had 2 things to achieve that day. 1, suss out the class, and 2, find out why Ojiro had such sway over your tail. You entered the school grounds early and marched up the front steps, heading down the large hall to your homeroom. You were the first one there and entered the classroom, double-checking the sign above the door to make sure that you had the right room. You weren't there for long before a few more students walked in and eyed you curiously. Hi, a bubbly brunette greeted as she walked over and extended her hand to yours. She radiated innocence, and you just reached your hand out to return a handshake. My name's Yurarika, she said with a bright smile. Yin, you replied with a nod. Hi, my name's Midoriya, a curly green-haired guy said shyly as he walked over. Nice to meet you, he then added with a small bow. This surprised you. No one had ever been polite to you before. Oh, good morning, Yin, Ojiro then greeted as he walked in, and your body tingled and you looked down at the ground, avoiding eye contact. The smile faded from his face a little, and Yurarika caught the exchange. Ojiro, do you know Yin? She asked. He nodded. Yeah, she's my friend from martial arts training, he said softly, a blush across his cheeks. Your tummy felt funny, like butterflies had invaded it, and you squished your arms together in front of you. I don't know if this has been a good idea after all, you wondered, still looking down. What's this extra doing here? A sudden gruff voice asked, and your head snapped up when you recognized it immediately. Your eyes met some glowing red ones, and you gave him a smug smirk. Got into the course, you replied, still holding your smirk. Nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah. Is that a challenge? He asked, making your body prickle with anticipation. Your tail rose up out of the top of your shirt, behind your head, and fanned out menacingly as you adopted a fight stance in the classroom, and Ojiro jumped into action, using his tail to jump across the desks and land in front of you. Don't, Yin, he said softly as he placed a hand on your arm, and your tail retracted immediately as soon as he touched you. Bakugou, don't provoke her. She's really strong, and you'll end up wrecking the classroom if she lets loose in here, Ojiro said plainly. Oh, someone who thinks they can beat me, Bakugou snarled, crackling small explosions in the palms of his hands. You no longer felt like fighting now that Ojiro was touching you, and at first you felt peaceful, then annoyed that again he seemed to have control over your quirk without your permission, and it was then that you remembered the second thing that you were going to focus on that day. Let go of me, you snapped at Ojiro, ripping your arm away from under his hand. Ojiro looked at you with surprise, but then hurt. Did you hate him now? Whoop, it's coming. Stay tuned for the verbal showdown next Wednesday. See y'all then.